You ever wonder how a website just seems to know what you want, suggesting the perfect thing at just the right time? Well, today, we are diving deep into one of the most important spots on any shopping site, that little similar products widget. We're going to see how the e-commerce giant Flipkart completely tore down and rebuilt theirs from the ground up.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're looking at, say, a new phone, and this little carousel of other options pops up. It seems so simple, but behind the scenes, it's basically a high-tech battlefield. And the big question is, who gets to win that battle for your attention?
And this, right here, is the heart of the problem. On one side, you've got what the algorithm thinks is the absolute best match for you. That's organic relevance. And on the other side, you've got sponsored content, products that sellers have paid money to get in front of you. So how do you balance showing the best stuff with, actually making money?
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with that battle for your clicks, look at Flipkart's old, clunky system, and then get into the 4 massive hurdles they had to overcome. After that, we'll see how they built their brand new unified ranker, and stick around for the end, because the results are pretty incredible.
All right, let's jump in. This is really about the biggest puzzle in e-commerce today. How do you give people what they actually want while also running a business where people pay you to advertise? It's a tricky balancing act. To really get how much of a game changer this new system is, we first got to go back in time and see how things used to be done. It was, let's say, safe, but it was definitely not smart. Okay, so look at how rigid this is. This was the old way. No matter what, the 2nd and 5th slots in the recommendation bar were always for ads. They were hard-coded, so the most relevant product in the entire catalog could be sitting there, but if it wasn't a paid ad, it had 0 chance of getting into slot number 2.
And this quote from the engineering team just nails it. It was predictable, yeah, but suboptimal. I mean, think about it. What if the best similar item is an ad? Or what if the top 5 are all organic? This old system couldn't handle that. It was totally inflexible.
So the team knew they had to build something better. A single, unified system where the best product wins, period, whether it's an ad or not. But to get there, they had to face down 4 huge technical dragons. They were dealing with a calibration mismatch, varied distributions, a big gap in feature parity, and the scariest one of all, fallback risk. Okay, let's break down what each of these actually means in plain English. First up, calibration mismatch. This is basically an apples and oranges problem. An organic product might be a bestseller with tons of clicks and history. A sponsored product might be brand new with 0 data. If you just let a simple algorithm compare them, it's always going to favor the popular organic item, and the new ad will never get a fair shot. Next, varied distributions. This gets a little deeper. The model might learn a simple rule like, hey, products that lots of people look at together must be related. That sounds smart, right? But it creates a huge bias against a new sponsored product that has no browsing history. The system was basically set up to favor the old guard. This third one is a classic big company problem. You have 2 different teams building 2 different systems for years, and they don't really talk to each other. That's what happened here. The data systems for organic products and for ads were completely different. It wasn't just that they spoke different languages. The data itself was a mess of inconsistencies. And finally, the big one. The one that could have been a total disaster. What happens if there's a tiny glitch in the system that ranks the organic products just stops working for a second? Well, in this new unified world, all those organic products would get a score of 0. And boom, the entire recommendation carousel would instantly be flooded with nothing but ads. A complete user experience nightmare. So you've got these 4 massive roadblocks. How in the world did the team at Flipkart get past them? Well, this is where it gets really, really clever. Let's look at the solutions. Their first idea was just beautiful in its simplicity. For every single product, they added one tiny piece of information, a tag that just says, "Is this an ad?" A simple yes or no. This little flag was like a whisper to the model, telling it, hey, just a heads up, you got to treat this one a little differently from the others. But that wasn't quite enough. The real magic came from something called cross features. Think about it like this. Popularity for an organic product usually means it's a great item, but popularity for an ad could just mean it has a huge budget. Cross features taught the model that nuance. It learned that the meaning of a feature can completely change depending on whether or not it's an ad. It learned context, not just blind rules. And to solve that terrifying nightmare scenario, they built a circuit breaker. It's basically an emergency parachute.
If the system even thinks that the organic ranking model is in trouble, it immediately flips a switch and reverts back to the old, safe system of pinning ads to slots 2 and 5. Problem solved. Okay, so they built this incredibly elegant system. They handled all the biases, all the risks, they rolled it out. But the million-dollar question is, did it actually work?
The answer was a huge yes. First, and this is so important for keeping customers happy, orders from the organic, non-sponsored recommendations went up by over 1.3%. That means people were genuinely finding more stuff they wanted to buy.
But here's the kicker. At the exact same time, ad revenue shot up by 3.4%. By letting the best ad win, no matter what slot it was in, the ads actually became more effective. They were more relevant, so people clicked on them more.
So let's be clear about what this means. The new system created a true win-win scenario, and that almost never happens. Usually, a platform has to choose. Do we make the site better for users, or do we make more money? Flipkart proved you can do both at the same time.
And what this all points to is a really fundamental shift in how we should be thinking about these systems. We're moving away from an old, rigid way of doing things into something much more intelligent.
You can really see the transformation here. We're going from a world of stiff, hard-coded rules and siloed systems to a truly dynamic marketplace that's run by a single, unified intelligence. The goal isn't just to be good enough anymore. It's to create a system that's optimized for everyone, the shopper, the seller, and the platform.
You know, this entire project happened because a team was brave enough to challenge one simple, long-held belief. Ads have to be pinned in place. It just makes you wonder, how many other invisible, outdated rules are quietly running our digital world? And are we ready to let go of them for something smarter?